So we're going to begin with Sister Nelida Naveros.
Good evening. I am going to share with you my experience of poverty. As you know, Peru is a developing country. I am the second of 5 children. I grew up in a very Catholic family in Peru. We as a family went to Mass every Sunday with confession and communion. During Lent, my siblings and I, with my cousins, went to church to pray the 14 stations every Friday. During Advent, we went to pray the Rosary early morning before school. And Sunday was the day of the Lord. My mother never cooked. We as a family spent together. Sometimes my parents took us to the movie theater or to the playground. Other times we went to visit our relatives. When I look back, I see that I grew up in a very nice, privileged family. But not everybody in my neighborhood had what we had. I remember 2 families. One, a single mother with 4 children. The other one with 8 children. They only had new clothes and new pair of shoes on New Year's Day. But what was beautiful about growing up in my neighborhood was that all the children played together, we laughed together. There was no difference about money. My first experience of poverty was when I was 14. A girl knocked at my door, and she asked for food and clothes. She told me she was an orphan, and she had 4 younger kids to take care. Of course, I gave her what she needed, but at that moment, at 14, I realized that there were orphans in the world. Well, after a year, when I was 15, I joined my community, Sisters of Divine Providence. And there, after my first profession, my superior sent me to work in an orphanage. It was a good experience working there. I was very young, only 18, 19. And being with those orphan girls helped me to some degree understand what meant to be an orphan. Then after 3 years, I went to work in a place called Quilmaná, 2 hours south of Lima, very, very poor area. Geographically was very arid and very hot. It was a place that no one wants to be. But what was beautiful about that place is that I was doing something that I wanted to do. In fact, one of the reasons why I entered religious life was because I wanted to help the poor. What I remember from working in Quilmaná was that people did not have water. Water came twice a week for 3 or 2 hours a day. That was a time when people had to wash clothes, took baths, and collect water in big containers. Living in Quilmaná made me realize how lucky I was growing up. Even my neighbors who didn't have much were not poor. In 1999, I moved to the United States, and my desire to help the poor stayed with me. So, studying at Stonehill College in Easton, Massachusetts, in Boston, near Boston, I joined a group of students who went to Peru, Lima, Canto Grande, and we worked there for 2 weeks with the poor. We went to visit poor families, and again, they didn't have water. they had to walk at least 1 to 2 miles to buy water. And most of the houses were made out of cardboard. What really made me very sad was to see that some of the families had children with Down syndrome and other conditions, and they did not have the money to take them to the hospital. Then when I became a teacher, I went to work at Sacred Heart High School in Kingston, Massachusetts. There, I organized trips to Peru, mission trips. I took a group of students to work in the orphanage the first time, and the second time we went to work in a parish. We visited families and poor schools there. The students brought toys, school supplies, and also some clothing for the poor children. And I also have a little project that I like to knit and crochet, and I make baby blankets and sweaters for little children and babies. I sell them, and I use that money to take to Peru when I go on vacation, and I buy school supplies if I go during the school year. If I go during Christmas, I usually buy toys and clothes, and I organize a nice gathering with the poor children up in the mountains in the Andes, and I give them hot chocolate and panettone. And I loved seeing those poor kids having something new, a new clothes, a new toy, because for them, in Christmas is another day. So I like to do that with my family. And this is my first year here at La Roche, and I plan to continue doing what I have been doing since I moved to the United States. I would like to go back to Peru again, and also go to poor areas within the United States. I think we are lucky, and we all at the same time have the responsibility to help those in need. I invite you to find ways how we can reach those in need and try to help in the way we can. Because I think for me personally, it's something that I enjoy doing, I love to do, because I feel lucky. I may not be a millionaire, but I think I can do something for those who do not have much. Thank you.